get off to a great start on their 4-game road trip as they beat the Winnipeg Jets by a score of 4-1. And it was the same cast of characters really leading the way. And in this one, Igor makes 45 saves, only allowing one goal in the victory. But I do think the shots were a bit misleading. I think it's incredible. Igor in his career, when he makes 40 or more saves, is 10-0, which is just insane. But I think more the star of the game is really Chris Kreider, who scores 2 more goals to up his season total to 38, which is really remarkable. He truly does have a chance for 50. The fact that that's on the table is amazing. This is a player that we've always known has had a lot of potential and all the physical tools to be one of the best goal scorers in the league, but he never topped 30. Now we're talking about someone who might get 50. So he gets a power play goal. He gets a nice sort of bank pass off the boards by Mika Zibanejad, and Kreider goes in all alone and gets a nice sort of backhand breakaway goal against Connor Hellebuck. So you're getting a lot of the top guys contributing. Mika Zibanejad has just been really, like I've been saying a lot, like just playing as good a hockey as we've seen. Really, honestly, for me, right before the COVID break. I mean, he's had a lot of hot streaks, but just the consistent play and the two-way game, he's really defensively been great. Good in the penalty kill, just the effort is there. And Jacob Trouba is someone else that I want to mention in this one. Back to Winnipeg for the second time, former Winnipeg Jet. He had a really nice game. 2 assists, made a really good pass on the Barclay Goodrow goal, and he also originally the goal was credited to Trouba, the 4th Ranger goal, but it did go off of Zibanejad's leg or skate. It was a point shot, slap shot from Trouba. So, really a lot of players contributing in this one. The Rangers did decide to go with 11 forwards and 7 defensemen, which was the first time they had done it all season. Libor Hayek was the 7th defenseman. It was an interesting choice, and it went better than I thought it would have. I don't really care much for getting Libor Hayek ice time games, which is kind of what Gallant's reasoning was after the game, but it still seems a little bit odd. Of note, Greg McKegg did not make the trip. They're calling it personal reasons. So, Gallant had said that he was sick the other day, and now he will not make the trip at all. This is a 4-game road trip, and it's not like he's going to join them. He will not be a part of it. So a little bit curious there, but still. And then not only that, Julien Gauthier and Morgan Barron were out. So Tim Gettinger and Libor Hayek played. So I also find that to be kind of interesting where Morgan Barron, I think, was legitimately a healthy scratch, and I guess Gauthier was as well. But we really didn't know that this was going to happen until, the pregame warmups where Libor Hayek and Tim Gettinger were, taking warmups and not Gauthier. So I don't think that means anything, but it certainly was odd, but it did work out. So that 4th line was really Gettinger and Ryan Reeves, and just a center would fill in. I saw Ryan Strome. I think he probably more than anyone filled in with them. Sometimes Hedl, maybe rarely Zibanejad, but I think it was really honestly mostly Ryan Strome who, probably took some more ice time than normal. And then on the defensive side, Nemeth probably played a little bit less. And I think Patrick Nemeth's game has actually been, like I said, pretty steady and decent since he's returned. But he would play a little bit less, and Hayek would pair up with Braden Schneider. And I thought Braden Schneider in this one, he had seen a little bit of a slip in Schneider's play, but mostly really good since he's made his NHL debut. And I thought he made some really nice plays in this one. And he played almost 18 minutes, which is a lot for him. So the Rangers, it was a good start. And we can't sort of underestimate that. The main issue with this game for the Rangers was they took too many penalties. Some of them were questionable calls, but still, you want to stay out of the box. So that was the one negative for the Rangers, who I thought 5-on-5, it was an improvement for them. And again, the shots on goal were a bit misleading, but the Rangers, 2 minutes in, score. And it's Goodrow, his 12th goal of the season, from Trouba and Hedel. And this was a play where Brodzinski and Goodrow are a 2-on-1. Goodrow had the puck. Brodzinski barely stayed on side. It was close. And eventually Trouba makes a really nice pass to Goodrow, and it gives the Rangers a 1-0 lead. Brodzinski is sort of an interesting guy now who he is in a penalty-killing role. Expect to see him stay in the lineup for a little bit. We'll see how long it lasts. Obviously, players will return from injury, but I think Brodzinski, there's a little bit of trust there from Gallant, going Brodzinski's way. So whereas, a guy like Tim Gettinger, of course, Libor Hayek, those are players that I think, they're going to see time sparingly. Brodzinski's kind of an interesting one. I think he was viewed probably by most Ranger fans as just kind of AHL depth fodder. But now I think, he might play a little bit. So the Rangers take a 1-0 lead, and then the penalties begin. Ryan Lindgren chips Blake Wheeler. The Rangers penalty kill deserves a lot of credit in this one, as they did kill off five of the six power plays of the Jets. Philip Hedel, holding penalty at 11:58. That's also killed off. Then the Rangers get a couple of power plays as Alexis Lafreniere is tripped by Dylan DeMello. They don't score on that one. But then Logan Stanley interferes with Goodrow. And so the Rangers get a power play on that one, and they do score. And, of course, in the power play, if they're going to score, it's going to be Kreider. He scores right in front on assist from Panarin and Fox. That's a combination we've seen quite a bit where Kreider and Panarin and Fox getting the assist. So the Rangers take a 2-0 lead going into the second. And the second period, I wouldn't say much changed. I wouldn't say that, Winnipeg necessarily had a better second period, but they did on the score sheet. As Alexis Lafreniere, it's a hooking penalty. Bit of a weak call, in my opinion, but Lafreniere, if there's one thing who I think he's improved lately, the penalties are kind of still in his game. But the Winnipeg Jets do score. It's a goal by Nikolai Ehlers from Andrew Kopp, who's a name that we'll hear about in trade rumors with the trade deadline about 2 weeks away, and former Ranger Neil Pionk. So it's a 2-1 Ranger lead at that point. And then Jody Brodzinski, he takes a high-sticking penalty as he high-sticks Neil Pionk, but that was a key kill there right before the second period ends to keep that 2-1 lead. We know how the Rangers are when they lead going to the third. They only have one regulation loss, and that was to the Florida Panthers. So the Rangers, with that 2-1 lead, and just like he did against the Devils last game, it is a Chris Kreider goal to give the Rangers a 3-1 lead. And this is the play where Zibanejad banks it off the boards. Kreider goes past, I believe it was Nate Schmidt, and just scores a beautiful goal. Kreider from Zibanejad and Lafreniere to give the Rangers a 3-1 lead, 6:21 into the third. And then to, put the icing on the cake, it would be Mika Zibanejad with the goal on a point shot by Jacob Trouba, deflects off of Mika. Panarin gets the other assist, so a multi-point game for Panarin as well. And the Rangers take a 4-1 lead. There would be a late penalty to Patrick Nemeth, a tripping penalty, but the Rangers would kill that off, and the Rangers win it 4-1. Shesterkin just simply unbelievable. And it feels like he will get an empty net goal at some point. It almost seems inevitable. Like whenever the Rangers are in that situation, Igor, he always tries for it. I think one day he will get it sooner than later. So Shesterkin ups his save percentage on the season to .942. His goals against is .193. At this point, the Vezina, barring something crazy, seems almost definite, and it's a matter of will he be in that Hart Trophy MVP discussion? I think he's definitely in the discussion, but the question is, how seriously will it be taken? The guy has just been so good. And I think this is a game, like I said, where the stats are a little bit misleading. This wasn't like one of those classic Igor games, but still, he's just such a steady presence. It is just remarkable. I mean, with the way he's playing, the Rangers have a chance every night. They really do. So a really nice way to get this 4-game road trip off. And it probably gets tougher from here. In fact, it definitely gets tougher from here. Winnipeg is a team that's not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're a bad team on paper. I quite frankly, their forward group is quite impressive. But the Rangers now will head to Minnesota, a team that is really in free fall. The Rangers lost to Minnesota. I was at attendance for that Henrik Lundqvist night game. That was a tough loss. Definitely a bitter taste in the Rangers' mouth losing that game. I'm sure they'll want to exact some revenge. But Minnesota, that's going to be a desperate team that has lost, I think, maybe 8 out of their last 11. They're on a losing streak. They are still, in the playoff. They're still, if the season ends today in the Western Conference, they make the playoffs, but it's starting to slip. And so on the one hand, I think you're playing them at the right time. On the other hand, again, going to be really hungry because they've been playing so poorly lately. So that'll be an interesting one. Then you go to St. Louis, a team that the Rangers just saw last week. And then you go to Dallas, who is one of the hottest teams in the NHL. So opposite of Minnesota, Dallas trending in the right direction. So that will not be easy. So this was just a good 2 points at the bank. Rangers are now tied with Pittsburgh with a game in hand. So Rangers have a little bit of a leg up. But again, I really think it comes down to those 3 remaining games of the Penguins, 2 of them in MSG, to determine who gets home ice in that series. So those games are going to be crucial. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how the rest of that season series goes. But for now, the Rangers are on this Western Conference road trip. And after that, the schedule is really easy just from a home roads perspective. A lot more home games than road games. Not a whole lot of travel. So this will be really, honestly, their last extensive trip. And like I said, so far so good. We'll see if the Rangers can continue their winning ways as they head to Minnesota.